to the March 30th special organizational town council meeting. Just for the public, pursuant to the town council rules, that the recording secretary calls the meeting to order in absence of a chair and the vice chair, and since we do not have one at this point in time, I am the recording secretary for this evening. I'm going to start off, though, by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for not rushing us through that one.
Okay. Now we're going to go to the election of officers and the adoption of town council rules. As in the years past, what we're going to do is we'll accept nominations for the office of chair. I reviewed Robert's Rules of Order, and in accordance with Robert's rules, a nomination does not require a second. It's just you nominate an individual, then we close nominations when all of them are finished. What we've done here is we'll call the roll by asking each counselor, and they'll state their preference for candidate if there's more than one. And if a counselor gets a majority, then that person's elected to the position. If not, we reopen up the nominations and start over again. So only one I'm doing for is chair, and then whoever gets elected chair will then do the next vice chair. So at this point in time, I'll accept any nomination.
To raise our hand, like how?
Yeah, raise your hand
okay.
so I can.
Since we don't have buttons, yeah.
I'd ask for any nominations for chair. Kyle.
Nominate Councilor Thompson.
Thank you. I'll nominate Dale Pike.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing no other nominations, the nominations are closed. Is there any discussion on the nominations? It's a chance for anybody to make a comment on or any candidates if they want to.
I'll make a couple comments, I guess. I agree with both, absolutely. After being on the council for a year, seeing how everything is run, has been run, I think it's very close. My reason for nominating Councilor Thompson, because she's always been very professional, sticking to the rules when it comes to how the meetings are run. So organization, professionally, and that's my nomination.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh.
Any other comments?
I may as well. So I nominated Councilor Pike. I've urged him to be chair. I think this would be the fourth year maybe now that I've asked. Like, are you sure you don't want to be chair? Because I have watched him over the last several years. He's thoughtful and even and engaged, and I think that he works really hard for the betterment of the council and the town. So that's all.
Any other comments? Seeing no other comments, I'll call the roll. So again, you'll state your preference, either Thompson or Pike. Councilor Burns.
Pike?
Councilor Finch.
Pike.
Councilor Bowden.
Thompson.
Thompson?
Yeah, it was out of order. They moved it on me. Councilor Thompson.
Thompson.
Councilor Cast.
Pike.
Councilor Weinstein.
Pike.
Councilor Pike.
You going to do Councilor Bowden?
He already did.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Pike.
Pike is elected chair, 5-2. Now, your turn.
That's next, okay. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
And thank you. So I think the next thing is nominations for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Counselor Weinstein for vice chair.
Any other nominations? If that's the only nomination, do we still do the roll?
Yeah, our rules are you have to do a roll still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nominate Councilor Thompson again.
Counselor Burns.
Weinstein.
Counselor Finch.
Weinstein?
Counselor Thompson.
Thompson.
Counselor Cast.
Thompson.
Counselor Bowden.
Thompson.
Counselor Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Counselor Pike.
Weinstein.
Counselor Weinstein's elected 4-3.
Congratulations. Okay, so the next is the adoption of town council rules. I don't know if there are any discussion, if everybody's had a chance to review the rules. Anybody wants to make any comments about the rules?
I wanted to make a comment. And just because this came up in the last year, the workshop meetings, I think it's just, I just wanted to bring it up, just to make note of the fact that we can have workshop meetings, and the procedure for that is in the rules, and I think that it's something that, as we talk about issues that need more discussion and need more work, that we can refer items to workshops. So, and that can happen after a first reading. I mean, it can happen anytime, we can call workshop meetings, but if there's an issue that comes up according to the rules, after the first reading, we can refer something to a workshop meeting, so.
Right, and as I understand that, we can also, it doesn't have, I'm not sure that's what you're saying, but it doesn't have to be after a first reading.
No, it doesn't have to be, no.
It can be some
Yep.
topic that we see in our future
Mhm.
that we think would be good to have discussion before a lot of work goes into, coming up, if there's an awareness of something that's out in our future, something that might be part of the capital improvement plan, and it gives us a chance to have a larger discussion involving people. So, and I think the other thing that I've discussed with town administrator too is that correct me if I'm wrong, but officially when I first joined the council, every other meeting was designated a workshop, but in fact, it usually turned out to be
Business meeting.
another business meeting. And it works better that way, because if you don't have a business meeting twice a month, then if you have to do 2 readings, things get pushed out. So we also have the ability to carve out part of a meeting as a workshop, just to create some time to talk about something we're not necessarily voting on at that time. And I think that would be a useful thing moving forward. So now we vote on the rules?
Yeah. Was there a motion to approve?
Did you have any changes?
There weren't no changes this year.
Motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the rules.
Does that need a second?
Yes.
Second.
Kyle?
It's harder on the button.
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, so we're on the committee assignments. We go down them one by one. How are you, I thought it might be useful, and if everybody else feels the same way, to go around once and have everybody sort of say what their interests are in committee assignments and why they'd like to be on that. I think it would be good for everybody to name at least a couple that they would potentially be interested in, and how that lines up. And especially for the new councils, it gives us a chance to learn a little bit about what your interests are. So, we can do it in this order, just to change it around.
Sure. I served on the budget committee this past year, and it's a fairly sizable commitment, especially right during that crunch budget time, which happens to fall around the holidays. But that said, I'd like to continue on that committee. I think that some continuity is always a good thing. And I enjoy that piece of it, so I'd like to be on the budget committee.
Do you have any alternate?
I think the CIP would be another. I served on that a couple years ago. I think that's a really an interesting view of kind of what's next and what's happening in the town. So I really appreciated that as well. So, or the Economic Development Committee. I guess those would be my other choices.
Counselor Bowden, it's your,
Yeah, do have an interest in living around highway safety. That would be of interest. Further, I did the CIP, and I agree that that's, you learn a lot, that's for sure. I did. I guess looking at the cable franchise negotiation, that's kind of in my wheelhouse. I'll potentially say that one for a second, and economic development is the third.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Gretchen?
I would say my background might lend itself somewhat to understanding what's going on with CIP and planning. I do have an interest in conservation, so. Since I'm new, it's all gonna be good. So I'll put those three down for now. So it's CIP,
Conservation.
conservation, and planning. So
Planning is, planning is a lot of work, and it's really an important committee, so.
I'm on highway safety now, I'm happy staying there. Economic development, I've been on it before. I would appreciate being on that again. Budget committee and planning board. Budget committee is right in my wheelhouse, obviously, having been former chair. It's the time commitment that is just not easy for me. Ditto CIP, they tend to meet in the afternoons, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I've got to balance, so I'm willing to pick up a couple of committees, but not ones that meet all the time, preferably. That's just my personal input, so I'd like to stay on or get back on econ development and stay with the highway safety if I can. But I won't fight Kyle for that one. Who you want to go to?
Councilor Finch?
I'm flexible, so I'll fill in where the need is. But in terms of interest, I would say Conservation Commission would be first. Just kind of interest in that kind of stuff that I've dealt with at different areas in the past. And then I am flexible, but I would also consider economic development or the dam.
I served on the planning board this last year, and I really enjoyed it. I found it really interesting, even though there's quite a bit of work to it, but I really did like it. And even though I was an alternate on economic development, we never met, so I can't give a whole lot of input on that. But if you need somebody, I would do that as well. But planning board is, I think, my number one.
Okay.
Do I need to give another one?
Nope, that's
okay.
fine. I would say that I was on the planning board and was on the subcommittee for the planning board this last time. So since I'm chair, I'm a little reluctant to take that on again. There's quite a bit there. And I think,
What
I think
about
it's,
as alternate, Dale?
what's
What
that?
about as alternate?
Well, let me tell you what one interests me, because I think I had coffee with outgoing Councilman Phil Nazaro this last week, and I am interested in the CIP. Just, that was always a major interest to him, and I wanted to understand. I had heard his comments over the years, but never quite had a chance to sit down and spend an hour talking about where he thought that should go. So I am interested in seeing if we can, and this goes back to what we talked about with workshops, if we can engage the council as well as the CIP more in making that long-term planning process more robust. And that's a lot of what Councilor Mazzaro was talking about. So I'm interested in the CIP. I think I would definitely stay interested and engaged in what the planning board is going to be doing, because it would come this way. But I think it would be good to have two counselors getting engaged with that. It's one of the more active and it's, it's one of the more important ones for our town coming up. So I think we've had a couple of people that have indicated interest, and I think if both of them, one could be on the subcommittee, the other one could be whoever's the alternate maybe would want to be on that subcommittee, and I'd even help with some transition on that if that would help to get up to speed on that. And the other one I would like to stay with, because I think, and I see you smiling.
Yes,
The dam committee I've been with a long,
Stay with that damn
long
committee.
time, and matter of fact, we have a meeting, a subcommittee meeting tomorrow on that I'm sitting in on. But I think we're close to a vote in the not too distant future, and so it would be good. It would be good to kind of, there may be it may be next year we move into a new phase. If we met our goals, we would have actually brought a solution to a warrant article, and then you could get into discussions of how do we improve the area around the dam to make it more of an asset to our waterfront, and a lot of things that could be kind of fun.
Right.
But right now we just got to get the nuts and bolts finished. So those are my preferences. So how are you going to do this?
Well, if the council remembers, the rules changed last year that the council has to approve all committee assignments. In the past, the chair got to appoint what committee assignments were. The two that the council always had the authority for are planning board and municipal budget committee. Also, those two committees have a full member and alternate. So if they can't attend, they'll fill in for them. If it's the council, I mean, we have, for like McAllen Dam, we have Pike and Finch who are interested. Is there,
Do you want to take a roll call?
we can.
And that would be secondary for me. I just did that because
Okay.
there was no one was on there yet. So
Council Pike will be the rep on McAllen Dam.
You want to do an all in favor, said aye?
We want to do one big one at the end? And I can read off the list,
Whatever
or?
works.
Maybe just trying to save time, it's up to you
Whatever,
guys.
but I don't,
Yeah.
Okay.
one if it doesn't the other, I think we're okay with that.
Yeah.
So that'll stay Pike.
Highway, the big fight, Bowden or Thompson, who wants to be on that one?
Who wants it?
Well, I don't know. I gave up on cable franchise negotiations because that's in your wheelhouse, Kyle, so you know.
Hey.
We'll point out, did we have two people? We're going to need another person to be alternate for budget too. just-
Yes.
And I am willing to do that. My other thought, I'm just interrupting here, is that I found that a very good education as far as how the town works in the budget process before I even became a counselor. So it would be my respectful suggestion that perhaps one of the newer counselors might want to get their feet wet a little bit on that, and go in as an alternate
On budget.
on budget committee. There's a lot of information on that side, and it might be helpful, just
CIP is fine.
suggestion.
Yeah. So,
Otherwise, I have no problem doing it as an alternate, as I have done umpteen years.
Highway is Thompson?
Highway safety, Amy, thing, right?
You good with that?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So budget committee, we have, Weinstein was the only one who actually said that they prefer to be the full member. And then an alternate.
I think Gretchen raised her hand.
Oh, did you for budget?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
nobody
I must have
else.
miswrote it.
I'm flexible here.
Unless
It's
there
all
was some,
learning.
I didn't have anybody else that said they wanted to do budget, so
You know
that I wrote down.
Weinstein is full, cast as alternate?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. I must have wrote down the wrong letter. I apologize. Cable franchise, Bowden. CIP, I had Weinstein and Cast, who are interested.
Well, CIP
Is there
was
one or
also
two?
a major interest. That's the one I actually put down
And
as.
Dale.
And Dale. Could, Counselor Cass, could I borrow your orientation packet real quick? The book. Because they amended the charter recently on what the membership of the Capital Improvement Committee is, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I just want to see.
We amended the charter a few years ago
Mhm.
regarding the membership of the CIP, and so he just wanted to double check it.
Keep- It's not under the capital improvement. The makeup of that committee is not under the capital improvement, whereas I would be. Council has one member and one alternate.
On the CIP?
Yeah.
One person last year.
Sounds good.
So did you want
That's
to be
between
the
Dale
full
and
member on the, or you're already the budget?
Yeah, if I'm budget, I think that's a big enough,
Okay.
that's a big enough job. I'll leave it at that if I
Councilor
can.
Cass was interested as well.
Dale,
Feel
do you want to
strongly
take it
about
for,
I'd like to do it this time. if I
Okay.
can.
And then Councilor Cass could be the alternate?
yeah.
Okay. That's another good learning one,
Mm-hmm.
because you'll meet, is go through every department.
It's a relatively short time frame.
Yeah,
the
it's
CIP,
summer.
So it's
Mhm.
not, it's not an ongoing all year long committee, so I think that'll be good.
So conservation, I had Councilor Finch and Councilor Cast interested.
Mhm.
Probably look towards Councilor Finch.
I'm gonna say,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay. Councilor Finch on conservation. Economic development, Ed Burns, interested. In- Did I have anybody else?
Me.
Hey, Councilor, thank you.
Amy.
I think I was putting Ks and Ts over there.
And Kyle, too.
Well, but I can,
Okay.
Council Burns.
Whatever.
Well, Councilor Burns, you're going to be on.
You're gonna-
I was,
Planning.
yeah, my first choice was planning board,
I
but
think-
I was alternate last year for EDC. If you need if you want, I can do alternate again. If I do planning board as the main, I don't know if I want to do both of them, you know what I mean, as
The
the,
other-
One-
Kyle, did you have some interest in?
Yeah, you had
in
interest.
Econ development? Is what if Kyle and I did the econ development and fed that to you, because planning is a lot.
And planning has a seat
I
on.
don't have a lot other stuff.
Planning does have a seat on the the planning board has its own seat.
Right.
right,
So they'd almost, de
Okay.
facto, be getting another seat.
whatever works.
If you get planning.
Did it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, whatever.
You like that?
So who is EDC then?
Thompson's full.
Thompson and Bowden?
Which one's full, which one's alternate?
Thompson's full.
Okay.
Okay. Flip a coin.
Okay, then planning
That's good.
board, I had Burns,
Uh-huh.
and again, I had K, so I must have wrote Cast.
Yeah,
As an alternate?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
So I'm an alternate on 3, but not,
You're not a full?
not a full on any.
It's all right.
Well, is there,
See, we've got,
do we have anybody
Full.
twice?
so Mac Dam, I have Pike as full. Highway safety, I have Thompson as full.
Mhm.
Budget committee of Weinstein is full, and Cast is alternate.
Mhm.
Cable franchise, I have Bowden as full. CIP, I have Pike as full,
You want to reverse that?
and Cast is alternate.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you want to reverse.
Because the alternate
So-
still can attend the meeting.
Still
Yeah.
attend, and that's fine with me, I don't mind
Okay,
that.
so Cass will be the full on the CIP, and Pike will be the alternate.
Okay.
Conservation, I have Finch. Economic development, make sure I get this one right. I have Thompson is full, Bowden is alternate.
Yep.
And then planning board, I have Burns as full and Cast as alternate.
Guess, is that too many committees for you though, Gretchen? Is that 3?
Now I'm
Yeah.
wondering.
Yeah.
I know, see, that's a lot, and that's why.
May I make a suggestion? If you have the CIP committee, Counselor Finch may find it beneficial to be on the budget committee alternate. So both of them can have the financial background, and you'll learn a lot from all the departments there.
Okay.
Would you mind repeating that one more time?
If you're gonna be on CIP as the as a full member,
Yeah.
Counselor Finch could be the alternate to the budget committee. That way you're both, those are two good committees to learn a lot about the operations of the town.
That sounds great.
Yeah, that'd be fine with me. So I would be the alternate on the budget?
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll go through this again.
Scribble, 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 scribble.
For the McAllen Dam, I have Counselor Pike. For the Highway Safety Committee, I have Counselor Thompson. For the Budget Committee, I have the full member as Counselor Weinstein. As the alternate is Counselor Finch. Cable Franchise Agreement Negotiations is Counselor Bowden. The CIP Committee, full member is Counselor Cast with Counselor Pike as the alternate. Conservation Commission, I have Counselor Finch. Economic Development Committee, I have Counselor Thompson as the full member and Counselor Bowden as the alternate. And Planning Board, I have Counselor Burns as the full member and Counselor Cast as the alternate.
So those ones.
Yep.
Okay, so
Anyone want to make a motion
Gretchen, you're
to?
down to 2 committees.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, that's plenty.
Second.
Oh.
Is that all you needed?
Yep. As I heard, second by Bowden?
Yep.
You asked for discussion.
Discussion. Will there be discussion? Good, give me all the coaching. Any discussion? Seeing none, can we go to a vote?
Counselor Burns.
Aye.
Counselor Finch.
Aye.
Counselor Thompson.
Aye.
Counselor Cast.
Aye.
Counselor Bowden.
Aye.
Counselor Weinstein.
Aye.
Counselor Pike.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
That is the agenda. Are there any other general comments?
Just welcome to our new members.
Your
New
next meeting will be
counselors.
7 PM this Wednesday here. Packets will be available tomorrow in your Google Drive, or hard copies will be in your, of the agenda will be in in the mailboxes.
I have a quick question about the Google Drive.
Sure.
Will we get
understand.
will we get a notification when something is added to the Google Drive?
should, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, we'll send an email out the first week and say, please check your Google Drive and let us know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
When the packet is online,
And it is.
send me an email, as you always do.
We will
'cause
send one
I'll
out.
pick it up online. I didn't get any
Get one this
invite for
week.
Google Drive.
Okay.
I didn't get any, I'm just gonna go
Okay.
online anyway, so as long as and I'll generally flag it, but if on an email you just say, hey, Amy, the packet's online.
Yep.
I'm fine.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned.
Right, that was easy.
Very cool.
What was